Today we are extending past our normal range. We are out in Case Grande, Arizona, a track called MotoLand MX Park. They've got a bunch of different tracks out here. They just opened up and these pits are already filling up. Excited to see what this place offers. Let's go take a tour and I'll let you know what to expect. So you've got the vet track over there, you've got the main track over there, you've got the arena cross track there. Behind that, you've got the beginner track. So because of the trip I'm on, I'm going to go pick up a couple motorcycles with my brother-in-law, but I've only got the RAR with me today, so I can't ride on the main track. They told me that this bike isn't quite fast enough for that. Something I like to do at the end of every one of my track review videos is say how far I think you should drive to get here and how much I think the track is worth, so stay tuned for that. Let's go take a tour of the property. Let's go ahead and start out on the beginner track. See what's up with this one. Alright, so we're going to go past the arena cross track. This is not currently open. They call this the Max track. This is a fairly new track. They only have time to groom this occasionally, so they don't always open it. They've got a supercross track over here, but this supercross track I was told is not really being worked on right now. So the beginner track, they told me, is good for kids that are on 50s all the way up to adults, whoever wants to just learn how to ride. Very wide track. Got a little dude out here on a PW50, or dudette I should say. I see the ponytail now. It's awesome. Love seeing kids get to ride. So it's a good size track. Very hard pack, which is good for kids to learn. You don't have to worry too much about ruts or like losing traction too much. Got some sand in the turns, that's cool. Got a moto dad out there getting his exercise, chasing his daughter around. I love that too. So cool. Alright, let's pull off and talk about this little track. So if you've never been to my channel before, welcome. My name is Alex with WeRideTwo. I like to travel all across the country and film different motocross facilities and let you know what to expect before you get there so that you're not completely taken by surprise when you say, oh man, they don't have a kids track, or oh man, their kids track is awesome. I want to help you ride more because of that. So I changed up my camera. Put it down on my chest mount. I've never used the chest mount, so I wanted to see how this would work out here. This kids track, you saw the lap of it, but I want to give some thoughts. Like you can see right there, you've got two bikes, a little kid and a dad, now another child out there as well. It gets kind of dusty. They do run a water truck out here. They were running the water truck this morning, but because it is in Arizona, this is going to get dry. This is going to be dusty for sure. That's not a detriment to the truck. It's not a bad thing. That's just part of the environment. This would be great for kids to learn on. You could do e-bikes out here, no problem, whether that be like a KTM SX E3 all the way up to me on this RAR. The jumps themselves are not peaked. They're more like just bumps to get kids used to being able to stand. As with Arizona, you expect it to be desert. There's what used to be a side-by-side track out here. They said basically you can ride out there if you want to. Because it's a side-by-side track, it's super wide. You've got big berms. And it looks like I might be going backwards. Whee! This place is hopping. It is Easter Sunday too, so I'm glad to see this many people, this many families out celebrating Easter at the motocross track. I love it. They do have bleachers on all of the tracks so you can spectate. They've got some picnic tables set up. They've got trees all over the property too. There are porta potties. There are no full restrooms. I like the little hints of shade. It's kind of cool. So they do have starting gates. This is on the vet track. They've got starting gates on the vet track, and I think they've also got starting gates on the main track too. Unless this loops into the main. I'll have to ask the owner about that, because I can't tell which way this would go. But they did tell me I can ride my RAR on the vet track, so let's go do a lap of that and see what we think. Now this is my sight lap. I've never been here before. I've never seen this track before, obviously. I feel like I've forgotten how to ride this roller. I tried the chest mount for once and I really didn't like that thing. It just did not work well for the angle that I want, especially while trying to stand. I want to give you guys the best view of the track. So this is not my sight lap now, but it's only my second time here. So hopefully that's okay for you guys. The guy at the gate stopped me. He's like, how fast can you go on that thing? I said about 50. He goes, oh, I was thinking like 35. Well, again, I can hang with the 250 usually. And these ruts are getting a bit deeper now. Alright. Pull off. Oh, I thought there was a guy behind me. There is not. So traction is important. The tires on this are not the best for this kind of dirt. And I cannot do these doubles. No sense in me rolling them. I guess you could hit that as a triple if you got some skills. The cool thing about this vet track is that it is not like a vet track in Texas. This is like a legitimate style track. So that's a full lap. Let's pull up and talk about it real quick. So while this is a vet track, I'd say this is a pretty cool track. It's a legit track. You've got a mix of tabletop, step-ups, and doubles. You've got left-handers, right-handers. You've got some switch-chosen lanes, which is pretty sweet. I think the layout of this track is well-versed for a intermediate to vet to expert, potentially rider. You could get little bikes out here. You could get kids on 65s and 85s if they've got some speed, but you could also just cruise around, kind of like you saw me do on my RAR just now. Now, there are guys out there that are flying, but that's probably because it's such a cool track. So you've got this cool like step down table into a gully, and then it goes up to a step up-ish triple. Most of the riders out there are just doing the step up onto the top of the platform. I want to see somebody do the full triple. Oh, this guy might. Oh, he had so much speed, he checked up in there. Something to note about this track is you can see it's getting kind of busy out here right now. I did ask a question about whether or not they run sessions. They don't typically, they just run open track practice. But if it gets too busy and there's enough kids on the track, they will flag the bigger bikes off, give the kids a chance to ride without the big bikes on, because they can be a bit scary to a little kid when there's a 450 flying over them. So in Texas, where I'm from, a vet track is typically a long flowing high speed track. It doesn't have a lot of jumps. If it does, they're probably pretty elongated tabletops with step downs only. This is, again, a legit track. It's not just a vet track. I would say this could compare to some of the bigger tracks that I ride in Texas that are just standalone tracks. And they've got a main track too, so let's go take a look at that one. They won't let me ride it, but let's take a look from the sidelines. I can see why they don't want me to be out there on a little e-bike. These jumps are massive. You've got that triple in the back there. That looks to be about 100 feet. You've got this triple right here, which I've seen a lot of guys just doubling. That's probably about 95 to 100 feet as well. It gets pretty soft in the turns. You can see they ripped it pretty deep. On the surface right here, you've got nice compacted like sand, but out there, because of the grooming and the watering, it's getting pretty loose. And I can see the ruts. This turn right here, there have been 3 bikes that have fallen in the last couple minutes just because they come in and they don't expect the ruts to be that deep. But the ruts appear to be holding pretty well. Now, I almost asked the question of the track manager when I was chatting with them through Facebook about tires. Obviously, it doesn't matter to me on the Sur-Ron, but for a full-size dirt bike, I'd say something like an MX-14 is probably your best bet, or the MX-34 at the minimum. You need to have good tread out there because of how soft it is. Otherwise, you're just going to be spinning in the loose soil. So the layout of the main track, they just changed it literally 2 days ago. So this is only the second day these riders have been able to be on it. It's a pretty low turnout from what a local rider told me. He came down from the Mesa area, but that's probably because it's Easter. He said this is usually one of the busiest tracks in the area because there's only 2 around Phoenix. Look at this. All these trucks parked in a nice line, and you got some jerk in a van from Texas parked sideways. Who does that? Oh, it's me. It's my van. Oops. I had no idea. I got here last night. It was pitch black. So normally I fill with this Dango Designs chin mount. I decided to try that chest mount, and I found a big flaw in it. When I stand up, I lean forward and you only see my bars. With the Dango Designs, I stand up, my head stays straight so I can still see what I'm looking at. Go, little dude, go! Yes! So let's talk about this dirt real quick, because this is a very interesting thing coming from Texas. You've got red sand up top that's really loose and soft. But when they water it and rip it in, it turns into like this almost clay-like dirt, which is just awesome. And they did just throw some water down too. That'll really help with the traction as well. Wah! Or make it super slippery for me. Alright, flagging people off so they can water the whole track. So I've done a bunch of laps of the vet track. I did a few laps of the beginner track. I kind of went around the property. I watched a lot of riders on the main track. I think I'm ready to give my assessment. So I don't know the Arizona market all too well, but I do know the motocross scene across the country, and I can give some perspective on pricing. Here at MotoLand, they charge $35 for big bikes and $30 for 50 cc's and under. Anything that's 65 cc's and above counts as a big bike, so it's gonna be that $35. They do take a credit card, but there is a fee that's applied to that if you use a credit card. I think that's reasonable. That's a very good price for this property when you've got multiple tracks. Having 3+ tracks on the property, I say the plus because of the arena cross and the supercross track, $35 is cheap. A lot of places would charge $40+ for this, but I think they know that because they don't have any amenities here, they're keeping that price point pretty low. There's no bathrooms, there's no RV hookups. It's pretty much just primitive camping if you were to camp here. But I'm happily paying $35 plus the credit card fee to ride. Being as I'm just on the e-bike today, I can't ride the main track. As I said, I got some footage from sides of the track, but I feel like this is a really cool place in the sense of the layouts. I love the difference in jumps. There's some big jumps, there's some smaller jumps. The vet track is very rideable for virtually any skill level. It was a blast on the RAR. Absolutely had a lot of fun on that. As far as how far I would travel to get here, I would say because of the 3 tracks, 2 big bike tracks and 1 small bike track, I'd put this at about a 2.5 hour to 3 hour track. I have no problem driving that far to get here. Now, I did just mention the Supercross track, so I talked to the track owner about that. That is for pros only. They don't always have that open. They do some trainings out there occasionally, but that is a pro level track. The arena cross track, they couldn't get open this weekend because of the layout changes to the main track. They had to use a lot of the water in their well to take care of that track, and they put the arena cross track on hold because of that. Should be back up and running as soon as they can get more water on it. Hopefully that'll be an additional track that you could ride. Looks like a lot of fun, but you do have to have some skills to do that. That's not a beginner track by any means. They do allow free camping here when it's not a race weekend. When there are races, they will charge for that because there's so many extra people that come in. They have extra maintenance to take care of, so they charge for camping at that point. But on a regular open weekend, you can pull up Friday evening, camp all weekend, ride Saturday and Sunday, and just have a blast with it. I liked camping here. It was quiet, it was peaceful. The scenery in the sky was amazing. There's no light pollution at all. Stars everywhere, just amazing. I wish I had my kids with me. They would have loved it. So I mentioned the sporadic shade. There are trees around the property, but there's not a whole lot. So if you don't get here early, bring a pop-up tent because it does get pretty toasty. We are in the desert. One last thing to mention is that if you're using GPS to get here, it will take you to the house next door. Do not turn down the driveway without the gate. You'll see banners out front and a fence in front of that. If that fence is open, that is the entrance to the track. Drive all the way back and take a left. You'll see the pop-up tent for signing in. Hopefully you found this useful. If you liked it, feel free to share the video, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. I travel all over the country trying to get some more information for you guys so you can figure out where to ride. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay safe out there. I'll see you in the next track.